right, folks, today we're going to be doing some altered teapots. I'm going to do some flat bottom teapots, like a spaceship I call it, and some altered teapots, just doing the same things we did with mugs with roller stamp and a cheese slicer. The teapot bodies are going to be 2.5 pounds, and let's just get to it. Okay, I'm going to start with the facets. I've never done this before, but all the same principles apply always. Okay, so because I want to start with a tall cylinder, a thick tall cylinder, I don't have to flatten it out so much because I want to bring it in pretty significantly. So let's see here. I also do not want to trim this, so I'm going to get the bottom to the thickness I want it. Okay. Now, just getting a thick wall. Keeping it compressed, keeping it narrow, and keeping it thick. Okay? I do want it to get to the height of the final teapot, or close to it, so we're gonna have to thin it out some. But I'm thinking about just moving the clay up instead of thinning out the wall. Just pushing in from the outside. Maybe one more to get a little bit of height out of it, kind of clean up the bottom a little bit. I'm moving the littlest bit of clay just to get a little more height. Okay, great. So, I know I'm going to want to leave the rim thick, and I want to kind of separate out the top part. So that will be left aside, and when I slice through with my cheese slicer, it has a nice clean edge to come off of. Okay, so let's go ahead and straighten that wall out. As straight as I can get it. And I'm going to dig under and think about kind of finishing that base. I'll actually use the footer at the end, but I want to make it clean and a clean edge right here. Okay, now I need to find my trusty metal rib. Let me pause. Okay, so we will use this hard metal rib to clean up that edge. Okay. And now for the fun part. I mean, I guess I should think about this for a second. I might want to work on the gallery before I do the faceting. So let's just finish this up here and clean it up and think about it. I'm gonna need my calipers. Okay. So I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna trust it's gonna be fine. Okay, so now it would be better if you were on my side, camera, but I'm gonna go ahead and facet it. And I want these to be pretty substantial facets. So that means if I hold it at more, like less of a steep angle, I'll get a deeper facet. The shallower angle is going to cut a shallower facet, and the more perpendicular I hold the tool to the pot, the deeper the facet. So that's what I'm going for, even though on the very first one I didn't do that because I had to think out loud to myself before I got there. Okay. It's fun to take a chunk out of your teapot. Oh my God, this is fun. I feel like after I make this one, I'll never make another regular teapot again. Okay, and then I just have a little bit left here. Okay, great. So I like to harvest all this stuff to reuse it, because this is basically fresh clay here. Let's get that down. And now I know that, look at all that clay. I just like got like more than a quarter pound back. Okay, so let's just very gently clean this up down here. It doesn't have to be that gentle. Try to clean that up. Come on, sticky. Okay. Clean, 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 clean. Okay. And clean these up. Might as well do it now while it's thick and easy to touch. After you belly it out, it's kind of vulnerable. And then let me clean up the top here. It's really nice. Take the time to do these things. Okay, now let's take the water out of the bottom. I want to spiral these facets if I can. And I'm still going to need to make this gallery, so let me kind of fortify this up here. And dry my hands off. And now, hopefully it's dry enough that it'll help the facets. So here we go. Gently pressing the side of my index finger into the inside. Go back again, bottom. And it kind of spiraled, not so much. Not so much. I'm having fantasies about, I'm going to kind of work on the bottom here. Having fantasies about just gripping onto the top and making it facet. Okay, let me cut the foot. Great. Clean up my line. Okay. And then let's work on the gallery. Let me just feel these walls. Yeah, they're getting thin. I was gonna say, if I could go further, maybe I could go a little bit further. Okay. All right. Since this is still pretty thick, I can kind of hold on to it. If this started to give me trouble, I would take the heat gun to it. I'm gonna kind of pull this wall just a little bit to make it a little bit cleaner separation, and also thin that neck out. Okay. I'm supporting it a lot on the inside and outside here, so I'm not giving pressure on the pot since I bellied it out so much. Now it needs my help. Okay, we got a cute little thing, and I will go ahead and split that. Okay. Make sure my tool is clean, support it on the inside and the outside. Make sure my rim is nice and clean before I do this, less to clean up afterwards. And right in the middle. Okay. Great. Fold the inside down so it's flat. Looking for my broccoli rubber band on the floor. Okay. I'm just going to use my fingers in here because it feels a little tight to get in there. Okay. Yes, we like. We being me. All right. See, that one took me, what, 11 minutes? If I did a bunch of them, I get them down to 4 or 5 minutes each. But as you work on these things, you know, you have to kind of make decisions, figure out what you like, what you want. And I think that's fun for a teapot shape. Okay, so, and I think that maybe I'll also facet the spout. I'm not sure. I haven't gotten that far yet. I did not draw this, like I tell you guys all to draw it. I did not. But after the first one, if I don't like how it came out, then I can draw one. Okay, now let's do one with the roller stamp. This one won't be as bellied out because I don't like the way the texture looks when it's bellied too far. I want it still to be kind of clean. So I can start the teapot a little bit closer to its finished shape, a little bit closer. Okay, pushing in, vertical pull, keeping the walls quite thick. Nice flat rim. Okay, a little more. A little taller, still not moving clay, just pushing it inward. A little taller. I'm not pulling at all here, I'm really pushing it in to get that height. A little narrow, a little more narrow than what it was. Okay. And the last one's just to set up the bottom and even out the wall, make it straight, totally vertical. Okay. go for the evenness of the wall. Make sure there's a little bit more to even out at the bottom here. Great. Okay, that was looking pretty good. Okay, now I have to do basically all the same things here. I want to set the top aside, so I'm gonna just give it a little inward push. So I have that clean line and I have a clean line at the bottom. Clean up the outside. Everything gets faster and easier with repetition. Okay. Roller stamp. Here we go. This is going to take a while compared to a mug. It's a lot further. So if you don't remember, when I rolled my stamp, I've got 3 options before I re-wet it. And I'll go over those after this one. So after this one, I'll re-wet it. Trying to kind of overlap my rolling. Okay, so the first one's in the middle. I use the middle section of the stamp here. Counter pressure from the inside. And going. Up to my line. Then I use one end, the third of one end. And then I flip it around and I use the other end. So just a little review of using roller stamps and cheese slicers. Okay. And maybe one more triple. So middle. The middle you can get a lot on. It's a wider roll, I think. And then one end. And then the other end. Okay. Great. Okay. Okay, now let me grab the top and kind of recenter this because we've gone everywhere. All right, so I think for this one I'm going to use my rib on the inside instead of my hands. So I'm just going to support the rim here at the top, and I'm gently going to find the bottom, pushing out, and gently bringing my rib up towards the top. Nice way to belly out a pot. Always scrapes off a little bit of slip. Take a look at the form. Let's tend to the rim. A centered rim is a centered pot. Okay, let's do it again. From the bottom, watching the profile of the pot. And I'm going back down just a little bit. Let's see here. This is really nice for that whole thing of not being able to touch the outside of the pot. Really nice to use a tool on the inside and hold the hand here, because I really do like to have 2 hands contacting the pot as much as possible. Just gonna play with the shape a little bit more. So pretty good for 2.5 pounds. That's a pretty nice sized teapot with all the considerations of faceting and stamping and altering. It got pretty big. Let me just see right here. I'm gonna use my fingers on the inside to kind of finish the curve here, bring the neck up a little bit more. Okay, great. And the last thing here for us to do is create the gallery. Speeding up the wheel to help me get that pressure I need to go down. Okay. Thinking about how far down I want to go. And let me use my magic rib here to clean up that neck, this part right here, that one little area. I'll give it a line here just because that's like a little bit of a kind of unclear area. There was like a fade out of the design. So giving it a clear line, and this one. Okay. Very gently cleaning it up. Okie dokie. Great. Fun, fun, fun. Never did that before. Yay. Textured teapot. I think it would be really fun if we can figure out how to get texture and faceting onto the spouts too. Oops, did I forget to do a foot? I did. Come on back. Okay. 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 All right. Now we got it. All right, there we have it. Okay, great. Okay, now spaceships. Prepare for takeoff. Crew, prepare for takeoff. This is one of those Murphy's Law things where I always try the wrong holes first. Okay. How are we doing? Okay. All right, so these will appear smaller because they're gonna have such a wide bottom, but I'm not planning, maybe I'll do one of them faceted. No, it's gonna be hard to facet it like this. I might have to facet, if I want to facet it, could probably wait until it's leather hard. Let's see, maybe there's one more kind of teapot I can think of. This is going to be a wide bottom. Flat, wide bottom. Okay. Just gonna check and make sure I have a bottom. barely. Okay, so let's push that in a little bit. I'm gonna borrow a little bottom from the wall. Not really what I want to be doing with my time, but what are you gonna do if you don't have a bottom? You gotta have a bottom. Okay, so just pressing some of that down and distributing it back into the pot. And back out. Put the clay where you want it. Oh, I know what I need to do. I'm just going to do one flat bottom one and then a bottle teapot. Okay. So here we go. Looks like I could have gone a little bit wider. Let's go ahead and push out here a little bit to get my clay and then bring that up. This could have been flatter. It's not really what I wanted. Okay, let's see here. This is why second and third pancakes. Okay. Okay, that's good. Your volcano will come in very handy with like spaceship style teapots. It's kind of the volcano extreme. Same with certain types of bud vases, just a volcano, and then you're done. Gotta figure out what to do if you're used to that just being your first pull. What do you do when it's supposed to be your last? Okay, let's see here. Create a little division for the top part and flatten this out a little bit more. Split. I'm pressing the inside as I do this so it doesn't get too narrow and so it stays strong. Bring that up. Okay. This. And this. Okay. And make sure this inner part of the gallery is flat enough. And actually this is so wide, I'm gonna take a little bit out of it. I don't need it to be that wide. So if you've got too much there, you can just slice it with your pin tool. Okay. Okay, great. and then I'm gonna make a bottle shaped teapot. And that's what I usually do for my magic teapots. Not sure if I'm gonna make this one a magic teapot. It's a lot of work. There we are. Okay, so let's get these taking up less space. And last one. Tape it. Not really too tight. Okay. What about you? Very nice. Okay. All right, so a bottle. So the bottom of a bottle teapot has to be round. We need to be able to trim it and kind of make the bottom part disappear. So I'm gonna make this as round as possible. To be able to get my hand in there, leave the top thick so we can bring it in for the spout. Leaving the top thick. Starting to think about shape. And leaving plenty of room for the spout. Careful of the dangerous curves, leaving it quite dry. Okay, so you have to start looking at this as though this were the top instead of that, or instead of this being the top. Actually, the top is going to be kind of down here, or the bottom is going to be down here. I'm just kind of looking at the angles. I need to finish it at the bottom because I'm going to close up this spout, so I get as dangerous of a curve as I think the pot can handle. Like I said, very dry. And it's good to make a decision here about like the lines. You know, you could try to take them off and make it seem like that nobody would ever know, but there's something very cool about being able to see that this pot was actually thrown as a bottle. So think about that, what you want. I think it might be fun just to purposefully give it like a something, since we're altering anyway. I just used this piece of the magic rib to stripe up the pot as it was spinning. Okay, got all the water out. And the spout. So I have to be thinking about this as a spout. Gently come off, clean my hands. Okay. Somehow this is really sticky and slippy and yeah, there's like a little thin spot right here. Makes it difficult to do this. There's that twist, that thin spot. It's okay. There's actually, because there's a twist in the body, a twist in the spout will look right. I don't really want it to be too standing out, but it flows. Okay. All right, not bad, not bad. Okay, let me thin this out here. And don't flare it too much. Just a little is plenty. Okay, magic rib. Stay away from that line that I made with the spiral. Okay. Trying to pick that spiral up. I kind of made a little bit of a mess of it, but let's see here if I can clean it up going slow. It's gonna lose my the freedom of the line if I try to go too slow. Let me see what I can do here. Jumped up there. Okay, I think it'll be okay. I think we'll be able to work it out with it'll give some freedom to the pot instead of so much control. Here we go. Yeah, let's go ahead and go back and just kind of get involved here. All the way. Okay. All right, that was a little bit wild. Okay, so the last thing for me to do here is to give it its bend. So that's making some executive decisions about what's the top and the bottom. This is going to be interesting to resolve with coming up with the lid situation. So I'm just trying to see if I can see what the top and bottom is. I'm just going to go ahead and follow the spout. I'm just going to go ahead and push it this way. Okay, and the spout like somehow gets a little bit bigger when you do that. Oh, let's see here. So that's why it's good to make kind of a smaller spout for these. Okay, let's see how that goes. Okay, I can just cut this one right off. If I can find a wire, I can cut it off. It's just gonna get trimmed. Okay. Okie dokie. Now I need lids. Let's see about sizes here. That is perfect for this one, and also for that one, and that one's going to be a hair bigger, but basically it's all exactly that measurement. Oh, I have 2 small teapots I was going to make. Okay. What was I going to do with the small teapots? See here. I wanted to have a couple of smaller teapots. These are 1.25 pounds. If I'm remembering correctly. I think I did 1.25 pounds. Oh. Uh-oh. Pancake. Let's see if we can lift that back up. Ooh. Let's call Follow the dangerous curve. Okay. Okay. Doesn't want me to put in pressure. Okay, let's try that again. Take 2. Okay. Can't tell what's happening, but it feels like, yeah, it's starting to collapse. Okay, come on, come on. Stay with me. Ah! Let's see here. I think maybe I saved it. Want to give me a run for my money. All right. Okay, let's call that one done for now. And it's gonna be a lot of teapots for me to finish up tomorrow. They're easy to make, but they're a lot to finish. Let's see if that one's probably also a little bit wider. Yeah. Okay, and one more. One more. And I think I'll make this one also some kind of altered one, maybe the faceted one. I think that was probably my favorite, so why not do that? Cleaning, cleaning, cleaning. Why I'm doing this now. Okay, we'll get it going on. Maybe we're gonna need it. Like last time it was hard to do it. Okay, so there we go. Clean hands, dry hands. And okay. I've got to bring these away from each other. Okay. And fold that in. Just realized my quads were so tight, or my hamstrings, my thighs, let's say. My whole thigh was like, eee. Okay, yes, I like that. Okay. Clean this part. Just trying to remember this woman from England who I had gone to her workshop, and she did kind of like very organic work. She had an accident and had to change from throwing right-handed to throwing left-handed, and it made her work like go from being kind of controlled like mine is to being very organic, throwing lefty and or backwards or whatever. It's not backwards, but the other way, let's say. And I was just really inspired, and I wish I could remember her name because I wanted to look up her pots and see if I could kind of get a sense of them and how she made them. I remember she put the lids on wet, you know, like she just like threw the lid and plopped it on the teapot. It gave it more character to do it that way. She said it just comes right off when they dry out. Makes sense. If you want something to stick, you really have to attach it. Okay, so we'll leave that right like that. And I, like it. Okay, now we have to do all the stuff, all the pieces. Let's get this guy out of the way and see if this one is also in the realm of, oh, it's just a little bit smaller. So I had two this size, two a little bit bigger, and one smaller. Wait, how many do we have here? 2, 4, 6. Oh, that one doesn't have a lid, that's why. Or doesn't have a gallery. Okay, so here we go. Next steps. I think I'm gonna need more clay than this. Let's see. I weighed this out just to see. This is 3 pounds. I'm making 5 lids and 5 spouts. And for the bottle-shaped teapot, I have to make some decisions. What I normally do is I throw a gallery and a lid. I throw the gallery separate. Okay, let's start with the lids. So these are all gonna have basically the same style lid. Longish. For me, longish means like 3 fingers. About like that. Flange. Starting to just give the lid its shape. Separate out the knob. Okay. Get a sense, since I have so many I need to make, it's okay if it's not exactly right, but this one seems pretty right on. Okay. Okay. And here we go. It's the one that's a little bit bigger. It's okay. What I'm going to do with these is put the lids actually on the teapot or next to the teapot so I can kind of stay a little organized about what's what. A little bit further gives me a little bit of a taller knob. I'd say that's about 1.5 inches. Okay, I'm going to measure this, see which teapot it fits best. It's about like that. And let me see. That's good for that one. Okay, so we'll just finish it up. Actually, yeah, I think that's good. Okay. Well, let me just make sure this has the right angle. Where'd my magic grip go? So make sure that this tips down back into the well, not out. Okay, now we can cut it. Okay, I don't think I have to record all of this. So I don't think I will record the making of the lids. One is enough. They're all going to be basically the same.